Greetings. Today we will begin a new lesson. Today you will learn to solve systems of linear equations by graphing. But before we do that, we want to refresh ourselves on some of the standards and skills that you learned previous to this. As you can see, we're going to put these two equations in slope-intercept form. Now let me remind you what slope-intercept form is. Slope-intercept form gives y equals mx plus b, where our m is the slope and our b is the y-intercept. Of course, we know the y-intercept is along this axis here, and I'll highlight it for you. And that's where the line touches this axis here, the y-axis, hence the y-intercept. So I'm going to first do this problem, and then you're going to do the second one. So I will just guide you on that, and then you can go from there. All right. So let's start with the first one. Now, we need this equation to look like this. We need the y by itself. And what I like to tell my students is that we're going to kind of draw a line down here. Now, this may work for some, this may not work for others, but it seemed to work for a lot of my previous students by drawing a line down the equal sign, and then we know a little bit more clear of what we need to move over to the other side. Now this 3x we need to move over here because according to the slope-intercept form, the x is on the right side of the equal sign, okay? Well, it could also be on the left side, and as long as and the b can be on the left side as well, as long as it's together and the y is completely by itself. In this case, and in most cases, you will see the y is by itself on the left side. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So in order to move the 3x to the other side, I'm going to subtract it. I'm going to do the inverse. So I'm going to subtract 3x on this side, and I'll try to write that a little bigger here. So I'm just going to subtract 3x on this side. Now, since we did the inverse, this cancels out. So now we have negative 4y equals negative 3x minus 12. So we're a little close, and I intentionally put the 3x in front of the 12 because, as you see in the slope-intercept form right over here, that the m and the x, and we can see what our m is kind of coming out to be here with this negative 3 there, and the x is in front of the variable or the term that's by itself, okay, which in this case b is negative 12. But not for long. So we have negative 4y equals negative 3x minus 12. Now, we just need to do one more thing in order to get this by itself. I need to take the negative 4 off the y. So I need to do the inverse. Now, the negative 4 and the y is being multiplied together. Typically, when we see a number and a variable like that together, or at all times, they're being multiplied together. So some people will remember the term they're being married, so we're going to divide them or divorce them off. So we're going to divide by negative 4 here. So I'm going to divide this by negative 4, and again, if you do it to this side, we have to do it to this side. And you have to do it to both terms on this side. So be sure that you divide negative 4 to every single term. So once we simplify that, you would get, and I'm crossing over here, but of course I'm going to erase this, but you'll get y by itself, and that is what we need to see, a positive y by itself. Negative 3 divided by a negative 4, two negative integers there, that would turn into a positive, and you want to keep that as a fraction, and you should know why, because though that gives us the direction of the line, okay? And then negative 12 over negative 4, and this becomes a positive 3. Okay, so so we've successfully put into slope-intercept form. We have our slope and we have our intercept. Okay, and we don't have to graph this, but if you was to graph it, the 3 would be the y-intercept. You start here, and then this tells us to I used to always tell my students that at the top this tells us to rise because it's positive, and then this tells us to run in green, like you're running on the grass. So I say run in green. So if you rise 3 from here, 1, 2, 3, and then you run 1, 2, 3, 4. So say if I was to run 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm graphing it anyways for you. It should come right here. So our next point would be here. And once you have 2 points, you can kind of connect the line and go from there. All right. So that will be the line for that. All right. Although it's not needed in this case. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to do the next one. We're going to talk about it in our discussion board. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this. And I'm actually going to finish the warm-up by graphing this line. So I already gave you an idea of how to graph the line, okay? So this line is in slope-intercept form. And frankly, I think slope-intercept form is the form that you want to have. It's easy. It's the easier form to look at. That will help you graph. So because you know where to start, we have our B, which is +3. So we're going to start at +3 on the y-intercept, okay? The y-intercept is 3. So that's our B. That's where we start, okay? So I'm going to plot our line, and I should type this in instead of trying to write this here, but bear with me. So we start here, and then this tells us our direction. So we have -1/2. So we have -1 over 2. It's a little better there. So this is a negative number. So this is telling us to go down. Okay. The top always, or the numerator always tells us to go up or down on the line. And this tells us to go right or left. So it's positive, we're going to go right. So again, you're going down and then you're running on the green grass. Okay. You're going down, you're climbing down, and you're running on the green grass. So let's go here. We're at +3. I'm going to go down 1 and I'm going to run this way. Let's do that again. I'm going to go down 1 and I'm going to run this way too. So again, I'm going to show the colors just so you can see. So every time you run, and then let's try to change it to baby blue here, you go down. Okay. And so hence you have your line here. Let's see if I can find a tool for the line. So I can make my line, make out a line in this case, and bada bing, bada boom, always add your arrows on your line. All right. So there we go.